Hey, my name's Jamie Turner. I'm the founder of 60secondmarketer.com. I'm here with Chess Eaton, who is the manager of search engine marketing at IHG. Chess, great to see you.
Good to be with you.
Let's start with what IHG is. You and I both know, a lot of people know what IHG is, but basically, what is the company?
It's the biggest hotel company most people have never heard of.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I like to say. People aren't familiar with IHG, but they know our brands. So brands like Holiday Inn, Holiday Inn Express, Crown Plaza, some lesser known brands like Hotel Indigo, obviously Intercontinental, extended stay brands, Staybridge, Candlewood Suites, and some emerging brands that are coming into the market. So IHG is primarily what we call an asset-light company. We don't own many hotels; they're mostly franchised. And so IHG as a company represents our brands in the marketplace and represents our hotels. My team specifically is focused on driving as many bookings and as much revenue as we can to the 4,600 IHG properties that exist worldwide in approximately 100 countries. So that's really our focus.
Excellent. And I know you do mostly paid search, but let's start by setting the table. Just briefly tell us the difference between paid search and organic search.
Sure. So when you go to Google or Yahoo or Bing and you conduct a search, the difference is you'll see usually 2 or 3 ads across the top and maybe down the side, and then the rest are organic results. As you may or may not have noticed, and you may not notice if you're not in the industry, the search engines are usually working to do what they can to find as many different ways that they can turn what used to be organic into paid activity so they can generate more revenue for themselves. So that's something that is a benefit to us in a sense because it creates new opportunities for us to drive revenue through our channels. But as a company, it's a challenge because it just means our costs tend to go up. That's really the key difference between the two. And they're entirely different strategies.
Yeah.
There is a very definitive way that you can build a paid search strategy. It's a little tougher to do SEO because Google constantly is changing the rules in terms of who gets to be in top position and who doesn't. And paid search is also a lot of immediate gratification, which is something we love. We can generate an idea and a concept, we can apply that concept, and sometimes within a matter of minutes, you can see it in the marketplace.
Fascinating.
So it allows us to get access to a significant amount of data in a short period of time, particularly in an industry like ours, in the hotel industry. So it's fun and fascinating.
So a lot of data mining, a lot of looking at things and making a small tweak, I would imagine, can generate significant revenue because you're pushing out so much of the paid search stuff.
It can. And again, in an industry like the hotel business, there is such significant volume that you have to be very careful because you can make a small change. You can have a huge ripple effect in your costs if you do it incorrectly.
Have you ever had a small change that resulted in a positive change or a negative change? And just out of curiosity, what was that small change?
Well, I mean, there are several things that you can do in our business to make changes that don't require a lot of work but can have a big impact. One of the things that we use a lot, particularly with Google, is a lot of the extension products that they offer, things like call extensions, site-link extensions. These are things that essentially broaden the scope of the ad itself to draws the eye in more. And what that will do is it will obviously increase your click-through rate. People are seeing the ad in a more prevalent way.
Talk to us a little bit more about that, because that's fascinating. We've got a lot of people who own businesses who watch this, or are marketers for businesses, and they are familiar, of course, with Google. And you know, we started off with a fundamental question about paid search and organic search, and they probably knew that. But tell us a little bit more about your experiences with what you just talked about the ways to make them stand out a little bit.
Right. So let's say, for example, you have some offers that you'd like to highlight, or certain pages on your website that you would like to deep link to. Or maybe there's a particular promotion that you'd like to share with your customers. Site-link extensions through Google allow you to do that. So you get a little bit more space on the page, and you also get to highlight that data a little bit more, that information to the customer. But the great advantage really is the increased size on the page. Because if your focus is click-through rate, and in some cases it's not always click-through rate, and in some cases, depending on your business, you may not necessarily want to just drive more traffic. You want to drive the right traffic. But for our business, because we don't live too much in the long tail, we're mostly about generating volume of queries, assuming that they're all relevant, right? And they're matching up well with the keywords that we're buying. Assuming that's the case, for the most part, we just want to drive more traffic to our websites, right? We want to expose people to Holiday Inn and holidayinn.com, get them to fall in love with our website so they don't have a need to go to an online travel agency the next time they want to book a room. So what site link extensions can do then is create the draw to say, well, okay, well, there's more information here, maybe. And this, in some ways for us in particular, if it is a query like for one of our brands, so if it's a query for Holiday Inn, it makes it look a little bit more like, well, this seems to be the official place, and this is where I want to go to book, as opposed to somebody else.
Fascinating. So that's actually great insight. Now, before we were talking prior to the interview, you said a lot of times people will do searches. They won't necessarily do a long tail keyword search that says, I'm looking for a hotel in Phoenix that also has a swimming pool and da-da-da-da.
Right.
But that you sometimes will introduce them to brands they might not have been searching for on the landing page. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
So this is search. The thing that we love about search is it's the great equalizer, right? If you're a small business and you're offering a product that's also offered by a large company, the paid search landscape allows you to set your product on the shelf right next to your big competitor. That's something that was really almost impossible before the web.
Yeah.
For us, even though we're a big company, we have some small brands. Next year, we're launching a new brand called Even Hotels, focused on fitness and wellness. This is a brand today nobody knows anything about. We'll be able to leverage paid search to display an ad for Even Hotels right next to an ad for Holiday Inn. Not only that, we will be able to use a Holiday Inn ad if somebody is familiar with the brand and they're like, well, I'd like to stay at a Holiday Inn, and they click on the Holiday Inn ad and they go to our landing page. We're also going to give them the opportunity to see one of our other brands that they may not be familiar with. And if they're a member of our loyalty program, which was formerly called Priority Club Rewards, which most people are familiar with, now referred to as IHG Rewards Club, they can reap the benefits of being a member of that club by booking a room at a Holiday Inn or booking a room at Even Hotels and getting the same number of points, right? So they become part of an IHG family, and we want to continue to expand that route.
Oh, fascinating. Great stuff. Final question for you. Let's talk about cross-platform. So there's desktop, there's tablet, there's smartphones, and that's a whole new world. What have you learned on that front, and where should people go with that?
Well, again, going back to what has been our biggest success, I think, is being able to leverage our brands, right? We have, like I mentioned, some very iconic brands and some emerging brands. With mobile, we lose that advantage a little bit. You know, we don't, because there's only a handful of positions that you can even, focus on trying to be in a position to view, to be seen by the consumer. We basically have to pick one. We say, we're just going to lead with Holiday Inn, for example. So that's a disadvantage for us, I think. And I think it would be a disadvantage for a lot of companies who are in a competitive industry like ours, because the overall cost is much higher. You don't have 7, 8, 9, 10 positions that you're bidding against, or competitors that you're bidding against. You could have dozens, and they all want to fight for that top position, right?
Yeah.
So your costs go up. In the hotel business, too, for mobile, is IHG does not play in the economy space, so we don't have a low-cost hotel. I would imagine most people that are booking a room on a mobile device, they're looking for an inexpensive stay. They want to stay one night. They're not interested in all the amenities that some of the IHG properties have to offer. And so as a result, the overall revenue that we get back is not as great that we would normally as we would normally see on a desktop.
Yeah.
So the numbers start to work against us, right? And I would imagine a lot of companies have to face that reality, particularly if you're in a travel industry sector. The behavior is different, and when the behavior is different, it could result in the metrics kind of twisting against you.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen. So it's been a challenge.
Fascinating. So it's literally taking into consideration the context of the person. What they're thinking and doing when they're on a desktop is somewhat different than what they're thinking and doing on a mobile device.
Right.
And you have to factor that in terms of everything you're doing.
A lot of industries are trying to understand what those differences are, and I think the search engines are working to solve for those challenges to a certain extent, where it goes beyond, do you want to just serve up a different message, right? There's a lot more to it than that.
Fascinating.
Behavior can change dramatically.
Excellent stuff. Chess Eaton, thanks a lot for joining us. My name's Jamie Turner. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.